So I got the cylinder head off, you know, power head off, and just to save from everybody watching me take this thing apart and clean up all the gasket material, you know, it's kind of would be a little boring. So basically, here we are. We got this would be like your intake. You know, you got your reed valves here. So anyway, this is out. You can see I cleaned this all up. They had gasket, like they had you know, RTV sealant or silicone, and they put it on here. And so that's really bad because this is a really tight tolerance, super tight. And to check this, you know, I could put a flat edge. I'll do that just to see how, you know, how it is. It looks pretty good, but it could be, you know, 1,000 out or so. I mean, anyway, I need to check that, make sure it's okay. The crankshaft side is, set this over here. It's in good shape. Obviously it needs to be cleaned off. You can't see it. If you rub your hand, it's all pretty smooth. Everywhere really. And I cleaned it up again, you know, all this was gasket material. You know, it just, the thing is, man, these are notched. You know, you got pins, and on the crankshaft you have pins that lock it all in. And you know, like this one, this dowel pin doesn't have a lot of meat on it, but it's such tolerance that it still sets in there. And there's another pin that locks it on top. So, you know, I tried to get this pin out and I could not get it out. I did order one, so, you know, if I can get it out, I might check it. But when I put the crankshaft in here, man, I mean, it's locked, so it ain't spinning. And then, you know, so this is the water side. Obviously this is this side where the exhaust comes out. It comes out on one here and over here, and that's independent of each cylinder, so each one has their own exhaust. It's like the top cylinder has one and the bottom cylinder has one. And then the bottom plate, you know, this is where your exhaust is coming out, this is where your water is coming in, and then it fills, you know, all these gaps. So I took my air hose and blew through all the ports, make sure they're all clean, and then over here I blew the lines. This is where, you know, fuel oil mixture comes through, kind of, you know, recirculate stuff to the top. I'm gonna replace these. This one's fine, but I'm gonna replace these two, and they'll go down to the carburetors. So anyway, it's pretty much the power head. You know, some of it you didn't have to worry about moving like this or anything. But I got this upside down. So anyway, there's that. And then for where the piston, or, you know, where you put your spark plugs, pistons. So you got these two plates. This is the water jacket plate, and this is where your thermostat is. So I took the thermostat in, I put it in some hot water, some boiling water. It was working fine. I just put some silicone back on it. It was really dirty, and I just need to clean these two plates up, which I haven't done yet. And then so here's the water jacket side. So you know, it's pretty clean. It's got this stuff, but you'll never get that all cleaned up. But I cleaned this all up, and you know, just to not make it so boring, all this was scraped off, you know, with a knife, and then you know, I'm gonna set this aside, and then I've got to clean this one up. This is your cylinder. I think they call it cylinder block, and there's 2 spark plug holes, and then you got all of these bolts that go in everywhere. So there's a gasket, and then, you know, so on the water pump side, if you wanted to put silicone, you could do it here, right? But you just smear it on, you know, because there's no, all these are bolts, so there's not like water or oil fill lines there. So, you know, you're okay if you do it here. You know, where you don't want to do it is like on the intake manifold, where it can go in and then it can block. Like, I did blow out some RTV, but you know, it could potentially clog up an oil line, and then you're not getting proper lubrication. And those holes that are on the intake and inside the power head where the crankshaft goes is on here. So the new power head kit I'll get a new O-ring. And then I checked all of these, and they seem to be pretty good. I mean, and then I did clean these up a little bit just to see if I had any major scarring. But you can see right here we have this is most likely a where it locks right onto the crankshaft, and then this is an oil line. So what I did was I put some oil in here. I put some Marvel's mystery oil, but yeah, it'll come right off, you know. And that one seems to be in really good shape. All of the bearings actually were freaking look like they're almost brand new. And then this end, you can see there's a pin, and that's how that one locks into the, and it spins really good too. And I cleaned it up and put oil in it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, you did a video? I'm sorry.
That's alright.
Check this out.
Alright, so sorry about that. Where was I? Cleaned this up, oiled them, showed where it locks into the crankshaft, and so then got that. Here's our 2 pistons. Alright, they're both the same. They're carboned up. I need to clean them. And this one, as you can see, it says up, right? So when it goes into that crankshaft, you want that up. And then it's probably hard to see. Let's see if I can get my light on. It'll help. Try to get a little more light so you can see while I do this. But so yeah, you got a little locking pin, you got your pin, you got your, you know, your bearings. All the needle bearings seem good. This is the number 1. So right there, bam. So there's the what's left of the one piston ring on top. Obviously the second one is seized, and then, you know, I'm guessing that this spun and then it caught the edge of the the cylinder, so, or it was installed incorrectly. Somebody had been in here before, so that could have, what the culprit was, I'm not sure. This one's a good one. Now if you look real close, if I can get it in here, see there's where the pin is. So this top ring can't go past that pin, right? And then this ring is going to be slightly offset right there. And later on when I install these, I just need to clean the carbon up, obviously, but when I install these, where those two notches are for the rings are like this, and if the piston, like where you can see the up, it's right, it's hard to see, but it says up. Try to get here close. And so when it's installed, those notches are gonna, where the rings are, they're not going anywhere near an exhaust or an intake hole. If this was installed, say this way, right, which would be upside down, and I would have to look, but then these notches would line up with those holes, and if it caught the edge of this right here, it would pop the ring, and then you got a broken ring. Luckily for this engine, it didn't cause any more damage, so it must have got sucked right away right out the exhaust port, which is what I'm theorizing. So hopefully if it did, it would have went out through the exhaust port of the propeller. So I've ordered a whole bunch of parts and new piston, new rings for both of them, because we don't know what shape these rings are in, and all of the bearings. I'm going to clean them up, but I've sprayed them down with some oil, penetrating oil, and all the races look really good, amazingly well actually, and all of the bearings have no signs of wear. There's no signs of any kind of nicking. I mean, it's like, I was like, usually, you want to just replace these because you're in there. All of these look almost perfect. So, luckily, here's the little keeper for the main bearing, which you install first, so before you put these in. Yeah, so anyway, ordered a lot of parts. Oh, also, You know, this is our, I don't know if I shot this, but this is, you know, this is our water. I got this upside down. Nope. So this is going to be our thermostat. It's going to sit in there like that. There's a cap and a gasket. So I ordered a complete head gasket kit for it. It's like $100. I think it even comes with a new grommet. It also comes with the 2 seals. So this is where your drive shaft goes through. It goes up into the engine. So there's seals right here. These 2 seals and this O-ring, and that's coming in the kit. So I'll have to pop these 2 out and replace them. And it's, you know, this will be one of those I may have to, you know, figure out how I want to approach that. I mean, I've got some seal kits, so if it's not the right size, because everything's metric, man. I'm used to using all of the US, you know. Now everything's all metric. So it's our fuel pump. It seems to be working. I'm sort of debating if I want to order a fuel pump. Probably should. I may see how this one does, and then it's pretty cool because they actually label it in, out. So a Mariner engine, but this is a Yamaha engine. So I guess, you know, like Mercury had a deal, some kind of arrangement with Mariner. Well, I mean, I guess they own Mariner, and then they made some sort of arrangement with Yamaha, and it's a Yamaha engine. I kind of like it. You know, the only issue that I've had, we got these 2 bolts, and then, you know, your top cylinder's got these bolts, right? This cylinder, those bolts just broke off, so I had to tap and die it. And anyway, it's already done, but I tap and died these 3. I'll have to put new bolts. Gotta clean this all up, check it, clean all this off, all this old gasket. So there you go, there's my update. It'll be a few days before I get all the parts in, and yeah, we'll keep moving forward.